Greetings, and thanks for joining us again. I'm Mike Preston, Arkansas Secretary of Commerce, and I'm pleased today to be joined by Steuart Walton, who is the chairman of the Governor's Economic Recovery Task Force and also the founder of the Runway Group out of Bentonville, Arkansas. Steuart, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
I want to give you a little bit of an update on Arkansas's economy, where things stand and where we're going, and let Steuart talk a little bit about what's going on with the Economic Recovery Task Force and the progress we're making in the state of Arkansas. So, as a state, we're down to 9.5% unemployment. If I would have told you that, 4 months ago, I would have probably had a heart attack thinking about going from 3.5% to 9.5% unemployment. But put in perspective where we stand nationally, we're 14th lowest in the country right now and the lowest among our border states and in the region. So we're seeing progress being made. We're seeing our numbers dwindle when it comes to unemployment insurance. We peaked at about 122,000 continued claims back around May 5th. As of this week, we're down to 97,000 continued claims. Obviously, that's still way too many, but we're trending in the right direction, and that's good to see. Additionally, with our revised forecast for budget projections, we beat the budget forecast revisions, so there's actually more funds coming into the state coffers than we had originally planned for after we took those initial budget cuts back in April. So things are starting to move slowly in the right directions in terms of getting our economy back going. And a lot of that can be attributed to the leadership of Governor Hutchinson and Chairman Walton and the Economic Recovery Task Force and what we've done as a state to slowly and safely open or reopen, in some instances, our businesses and our economy. And we're doing so in a safe, secure manner. We've still got a long way to go, but I think we're on the right track. Steuart, I'd love to hear a little bit about the task force and the work that's being done and the progress we've made so far.
Thanks, Secretary, and great to be here in Little Rock. The task force is still a kind of a newbie, really. It's only 2 months old now, just over. And I had hopes that maybe the task force was only going to ever be 2 months old, and it looks like it might go on a little longer than that. But I do feel like we're getting some important work done. We issued the Interim Report. It was back, feels like forever ago now. It's now, here we are in July, but it was about a month ago. And a number of suggestions in that report have been adopted, have been embraced, and we seem to be moving forward. One highlight of that, I think, was getting some funding for rural broadband. As the task force work has gone into June, I think everybody knows the cases have picked up in Arkansas, as they have around many states in the country. And we are looking both to figure out how to operate in this new normal in the era of COVID, but also continue to get the economy back on track. Certain industries, of course, still remain pretty impacted, whether you're gyms, hospitality, hotels, things like that. Business travel still down significantly, but other industries are actually coming online, and some areas are actually seeing a return of business to even some pre-COVID levels. So it's kind of a mixed bag across businesses in the state. By and large, though, as Mike said earlier, we are doing quite well as a state, just from an economic point of view, from a recovery point of view, and from a being open point of view. I've been able to travel around and talk to folks across the country, and Arkansas is more normal, I would say, than many, many other places out there. Looking ahead, I think, the Economic Task Force is working to understand where Arkansas's population is at. So we're trying to understand what people think about getting kids back in school. That's been a big impact on people's ability to go back to work themselves, but also, the additional burden on families having to teach kids, take on some of the education of their children. Obviously, that's part of being a parent, but even more so now in the era where schools have been closed. We're talking to people about protective equipment, masks, gloves, trying to get the word out just about how important these items are and these actions are in terms of what you can do personally to prevent the spread. And as I think we all realize in some way or another, the spread of the virus is very much connected with our ability to recover economically. And so we really need to keep focusing on socially distancing as we are right here.
That's right.
Of course, being outside is better than being inside. There's a lot of research that's showing a big difference in terms of the risk of being inside with people versus being outside. And then, of course, if you can't socially distance, wearing a mask is just as good of a protection as you can provide other people, and hopefully they'll also provide that back to you by wearing a mask.
Steuart, thank you for that update. Really appreciate it. One thing that the task force has also taken on is a new website, and it's arkansasready.com. And it's a great resource for those who have a business or maybe are just inquiring about how they can get PPE, about where the state stands in terms of reopening, what are the directives that have been put out there by the health department. So I encourage folks to go to arkansasready.com. You can look at that website. Lots of resources there. Steuart, if you want to mention anything about the website and the content.
Like you said, good content. A lot of directives with the Department of Health have been posted there. We've got Spanish language translation for the site as well, and it really is sort of meant to be a comprehensive resource for stakeholders across business and institutions in Arkansas, whether you're managing a business, owning a business, working at a business, or a customer of a business. It's really meant to provide folks, kind of just a general place where they can go and get information for operating in this new environment.
So there's a lot of resources out there. Please, again, go to arkansasready.com. And just to wrap up, we have a lot to be thankful for and look forward to. And as Steuart mentioned, we're now into July. And one of the things when we hit July was the enactment of the USMCA, the United States, Mexico, Canada Agreement. This is the new NAFTA, the modernization and update to NAFTA. This is now in effect, and it's going to be something that's very beneficial for our country, for North America, but certainly of Arkansas. When you look at our top trading exports, Mexico and Canada are number 1 and number 2 when it comes to our exports. About 37% of all of our exports go to those two countries, and they represent billions of dollars worth of goods flowing each year out of our state. It's going to be a big impact to our farmers, with our agriculture still being the number 1 sector, number 1 industry in our state. We're going to see a lot of benefits from that. So we've got reason to be hopeful going forward with the USMCA, with the numbers and where we're going in terms of our unemployment and getting people back to work. So while we're still not through this, we encourage people to socially distance, wear the mask if you can't, take all those precautions so that we can get out of this quicker, rather than in it for much longer. But I think we have a lot to be thankful for and a lot of hope looking forward. So thanks for joining us, Steuart. Thanks for being here today and for your leadership on the task force. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your leadership.
Thank y'all.